haunted houses, battlefields, and bridges. The South is full of them. But many times, it's the remote woodlands that carry the oldest legends. Stories that give even the most experienced hunters and woodsmen pause. Native burial grounds and rural ritual sites, both ancient and modern, dot the landscape all across the South, known mostly through the oral history of generations that have stayed in the same place. Do you know what else we have? Cryptids. Strange creatures hidden away in the deep hills and woodlands. The stories are rich and endless, and there are a few that I get requests for on a regular basis. Today's story was requested by both 40th Plum Engineering and Tyler Epperson. A large feline that stalks the hills of Appalachia, hunting livestock and destroying property. A creature tied back to a native curse. Mostly identified by his chilling call in the night, let's look into the legend of the Appalachian cryptid known as the Wampus Cat. Everyone loves a good strange, weird, or bizarre story. Well, welcome to the American South, where dark legends and haunted history lurk around every corner. Where superstition, folklore, and a touch of backwoods magic blend with everyday culture, some say, in order to survive. This is Dixie After Dark. The origins of the Wampus Cat originates from the Appalachian region of the American South. Some say from the Cherokee people. Others say from a mix of Cherokee and mountain settlers' culture. Throughout Appalachia, the Wampus Cat is known by many names: the Galliwampus, the Whistling Wampus, and the Catawampus. The word Catawampus itself shows up in several American dialects, meaning anything from something placed on a corner to something that's just messed up or not quite right. But in the Appalachian region, it's known to refer to any mysterious animal or any strange event. The word may come from the word catamount, which was the area's name for the now extinct eastern cougar. Interestingly enough, physical descriptions of the Wampus Cat are very similar to that of the eastern cougar, aside from the color. More modern descriptions anyway. Instead of the standard gray-brown colorization of the eastern cougar, almost identical to the mountain lion, the Wampus Cat is typically described as nearly black. Although more modern sightings and stories attributed to the Wampus Cat are more feline, the earliest tales were slightly different. Both ancient and modern tales have the beast with glowing eyes, but the earliest descriptions of the Wampus Cat had the beast with a set of antlers like a deer, and 6 legs. The Wampus Cat is also said to have webbed feet like a sphinx, supporting folklorist Vance Randolph's description of the Wampus Cat as, quote, a kind of amphibious panther which leaps into the water and swims like a colossal mink. One of the earliest documented reports of the Wampus Cat was published in the Greenville Sun on December 17, 1918. A Wampus Cat is reportedly roaming the Big Ridge in the vicinity of Gethsemane. The article goes on to say that the sightings and rumors of the Wampus Cat have been around for generations. A few years later, newspapers in the surrounding area began blaming livestock attacks on the Wampus Cat. Descriptions from those days say that the creature had a face of a bobcat, but the body was more of a cat-human hybrid, with elongated claws and fangs, glowing yellow eyes, and dark matted fur. Sightings were sporadic and usually happened deep in the remote areas. Witnesses often described a feeling of unease and an overwhelming sense of being watched before encountering the creature. The beast is said to have some supernatural abilities as well, setting it apart from a surviving extinct species of feline or some misidentified animal. The Wampus Cat is said to have uncanny speed, agility, and strength, allowing it to move through the deep forest of the mountains and remain undetected. These abilities also aided in taking down its favorite prey, dogs, livestock, and even eagles. Earlier legends give the Wampus Cat the ability to shapeshift or either become invisible, making it even more difficult to track or capture. Its most well-known supernatural trademark, though, is the creature's call, described as a mix between a howl and a scream. They say the call of the Wampus Cat strikes fear in anyone that hears it. Most experts that have analyzed recordings agree that it obviously sounds larger than a bobcat. Many point to the call sounding oddly similar to a mountain lion, but there are no known mountain lions in the southeast. Their range is in the Rocky Mountains on the western portion of the country. The supernatural attributes mentioned earlier could tie the creature back to its origins from Cherokee legends. Native legend says that the Wampus Cat was once a beautiful Cherokee woman. Her husband was a great hunter, and because of that, he was typically called away on each and every hunting party that the village sent out. Before each hunting trip, though, the men would gather in the woods, both to ask forgiveness for the animals they were hunting, as well as to seek supernatural help for their quest. A sacred ritual that women were not allowed to participate in. For that matter, the women in the village were not even allowed to see or know about the ritual. This particular woman was very proud of her husband's status as a hunter, but it seemed that her pride led to curiosity. She wanted to know the secrets that gave her husband and the fellow hunters such extraordinary abilities over the hunting parties from surrounding villages. She begged her husband repeatedly to tell her what went on during the pre-hunt rituals, but he never caved. So one night, the woman took matters into her own hands. As the men left to gather in the woods the night before another hunt, the woman secretly followed along through the woods, clothed in a cougar skin. She tracked the hunting party to a clearing in the woods, then hid herself behind a large rock to watch the show. Her excitement grew as the ritual began, but she could not quite make out what was being said. So, as silently as she could, she crept closer and closer, bit by bit. It seems her curiosity and excitement clouded her judgment, though. It was a skilled hunting party that she was trying to sneak up on, after all. And it wasn't long before the medicine man leading the ceremony took notice of the woman. He alerted the surrounding hunters, who quickly caught the woman and dragged her out into the clearing with them. As punishment, the medicine man put a curse on the woman. The cougar skin she was clothed in became her own skin. The woman was turned into a mix of cougar and human, then cast out into the forest, banned from ever returning to the village and her people ever again. They believed the curse made the woman immortal, living forever, forever alone, deprived from human interaction, her own people, and human life entirely. The legend says that's why the Wampus Cat roams the mountains of Appalachia, constantly acting out in rage from being cut off from the rest of mankind. She stays, lurking around the places where people live, but never able to rejoin them. This anger and resentment is the cause of her killing livestock and destroying things on settlements, then farms, all the way to modern times. The calls and encounters with the Wampus Cat typically happen during twilight and dusk, but it's the screams of the creature in the middle of the night that terrifies people the most in the hills. In modern times, the Wampus Cat has made its way into pop culture a few times. It has become the high school mascot of a few high schools in Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Texas, and even Idaho. The creature makes appearances in the Dungeons & Dragons game as well, and is even the name of one of the 4 houses of the North American School of Wizardry from the Harry Potter series, the North American equivalent to the more well-known Hogwarts School. Hair from the Wampus Cat was even used as a core component for the magical wands in that series. People still report encounters with the Wampus Cat today, mostly coming out of the rural Appalachian hills, from a people that should be all too familiar with the surrounding wildlife in the area. So, what are they seeing and hearing? Is it a magical beast, cursed to wander the lands? Or is it a thought to be extinct North American feline? I would think that either of the two should be viewed as a rare, once-in-a-lifetime encounter. There are some strange things out there, people, especially down here in the South. Everyone here knows at least one person to have seen a black panther, although none are known to exist in North America. Are they out there? Or has the Wampus Cat extended its range?